virtual clap sa ating lahat because we are able to attend this review. And actually, this is the third day of the review. Sabi nga ni Adrian, at first, dapat ano to dapat 2-day review na morning and afternoon, but because of constraints in schedule, na-move into this time. So I think kahit ganito yung oras natin, no, I know some of you are galing sa work, yung iba, syempre pagod na tayo because this is the wrap up of our day, but still we managed to attend this review for us to gather information and also additional ideas for the upcoming career service examination. So for this night, we will be tackling the numerical and logical reasoning. This is an introductory to arithmetic and number theory. So just like what Ella said a while back, I am doing review for CSC for quite some years. So we're doing this. Actually, this is my second time for the JCI Linggen Bagoong for this event na mag-serve as a reviewer. And also in Pangasinan State University, we also have uh, committed projects and programs, which involves also review in civil service exam and also in licensure examination for teachers. So these are just basic information regarding numerical and logical reasoning. We all know in taking examination, alam natin na hindi tayo, hindi, paano ba yun? Alam ko na hindi talaga natin alam kung ano yung mga ibibigay nilang questions, but what we want to get from our review is the art of questioning ng civil service, and also provides basic information do sa mga basic na coverage ng topics in numerical and logical reasoning. So I think we can start by having first of all, can you see my screen? I appreciate if you can put a thumbs up if you
Yes.
can see the screen. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So for the competencies for this day, we will be tackling real number system, operations on sign numbers, greatest common factors, least common factor, divisibility rules, fractions, decimal, and percentage measurement. I also included series and sequences uh, for this review. So first, we'll just take uh, simple or sabihin nating pre-examination for the basic knowledge that we know in numerical and logical reasoning. So I have prepared 5 questions here, and then try to write the answer first. Yung 5, sulat muna natin yung 5 sagot natin for these questions. And then let's try to check after the 5 questions. So first question, the question is presented on the screen. So I will try to read the question. If A and B are integers and the sum of B is odd, which of the following could be true? So there are 1, A and B are both odd. A is even. For the second statement, A is even and B is odd. And then for the third statement, A is odd and B is even. So which is true for this statement? We have letter A, 1 only, letter B, 2 only, letter C, 1 and 2, letter D, 2 and 3. So if you have a piece of paper there sa inyong kinalalagyan, just write the answer. And then later on, we'll be checking after the 5 questions. Okay, so I think you're done. This is very easy for some. Okay. Next question. Mr. Cruz is enclosing a square fence whose side is 8.5 meter. So what is the perimeter of his fence? Is it 17 meter, 34 meter, 44 meter, or letter D, 72.25 meter? So what do you think is the right answer? So if Mr. Cruz is enclosing a 8.5 square fence side, okay, So what will be the perimeter of his fence? Okay. Third question, in a mathematics test, there are 35 students pass and 30% failed. How many students took the test? 35 students passed and 30% failed. Okay. So categorically, the numbers are not the same. One in constant form, and the second one is one in natural number form, and then the other one is in percentage form. So how many students took the test? Is it 30, 40, 50, or 60? Okay. Next question, ratio. Okay. The ratio of men to women in a room is or was 11 is to 18. Again, the ratio of men to women in a room was 11 is to 18. If 33 men entered the room, how many women are there in the room? Is it 58? Letter B, 54. Letter C, 56, or letter D, 60? So what is the ratio of the women? Okay. And for our last question, which of the following must be positive? Positive number, okay? Is it letter A, if the sum of two negative numbers, if we get the sum of two negative numbers? Letter C, if the sum of a positive and negative number will be getting positive? Letter C, the product of a positive and negative number? Or letter D, the product of 10 negative number? Okay, so we're done with our 5 questions. You can write now your 5 answers in our chat box, and then let's try to check if you got the correct answer later on. So I think nagsosolve pa yung iba sa inyo. So try to answer or put your answers on our chat box, and then let's try to check kung ilan yung nakuha nyo doon sa ating question. We are currently 51 on this meeting. Okay. Nagets ba natin the 5 answers? I am seeing answers A. So I don't know if anong anong number. So I am thinking that's for the first question or for the questions that is presented on our screen right now. So let's try to check. So here are the answer for question number 1, letter D. Question number 2, letter B. Question number 3, letter C. Question number 4, letter B. And question number 5, letter D. So let's try to check. Tama ba? So dito sa question number 1 natin, if there are A and B as integers and the sum of A and B, which of the following could be true? So if A and B are both odd, is there a possibility to have the sum of A and B to be add also? So basically what we are doing here is trial and error process. Okay, but if you're familiar with theoretical form of odd and even numbers, just as for example, given that 2a is equal to the even number such that a is a real number. So basically medyo higher mathematics. That's what we do in mathematics in order to prove these statements. But basically, since we are doing examinations here and we are not that familiar with those terms in mathematics, you can do trial and error. So for example, we'll let A to be equal to, if it is odd, equal to 1, and B 3. So when we add 1 and 3, we'll be getting 4. And is 4 odd? So 4 is not odd. So basically, the letter A or item letter A is not the right answer. So 2 is not also the right answer. So if given A is 2 and B is 3, 2 plus ah 2 and 2 plus 3 is 5 is even. Tama ba? 2, 3 is even. So 2, B could be true also. Pala. 1 and 2, 1, since 1 is not the right answer, so basically C will not be, does not imply the right statement. Okay, and letter D, 2 and 3. So for statement 3, we have A is odd, 3 plus 2, then we'll be getting 5 also. So basically 2 and 3 will be the right answer, letter D, but actually we can also have letter B, 2 only. If we can refer to the question, yun, 2 and 3, letter D is the right answer. But we can also write letter B as right answer, given that 2 is also an odd number. For the next question, so 8.5 will be getting the perimeter. So later on, we will be discussing the area, the perimeter, the surface area of square or circle. Yun. So for the perimeter, it's just 4 times 8.5. Okay, so that's letter B. Okay, and then 35 students passed, 30% failed. So how many took the test? So later on, we'll be discussing the percentage form also. Okay, so the answer for this one is letter C. Okay, and then for this one, ratio and proportion, we will be also discussing this one. So we read that as 11 is to 18. So we just put the, ano bang tawag doon? Kung saan nakalagay yung, for example, men is to women is what you're getting. So since it is 11 is to 18, on the second statement, you will be getting 33 is to n. Okay? So ang hinahanap mo, yung n, yung unknown natin, and that will become the women. Okay, so 11 is to 18 is equal to 33 is to n. So that will become a proportion. So we'll be equating that using the theory or the process in getting proportion. So ang makukuha natin ay letter B, okay, 54. And for this one, we'll be getting the positive for these choices. Letter D is the right answer, the product of 10 negative numbers. So we will be getting even product. Okay, kapag kinuha natin yung product ng even na numbers ng negative, we'll be getting positive. Just like if we will be getting the product of 2 negative numbers or product of 4 negative numbers. Since 2, 4 are even, then we'll be getting positive. That's a theory, or that's a how do you call that in mathematics na? That's a rule, okay, in mathematics. Okay, so for example, you'll be getting product of 1 million negative numbers. Since 1 million is an even integer or even number, then we'll be getting positive pa rin dun sa number natin. Okay, so basically those are the answers. Pahapyaw lang yon ng ating mga i-discuss here in numerical and logical reasoning, and I hope hindi tayo aantukin dito sa ating discussion. Some sabi nila mas nahihirapan daw sila sa mathematics, but I am always telling my class na kapag nag-take sila ng mathematics, it is not just Hindi dahil mahirap yung subject, kundi dahil mali yung pagkakaintindi natin at mas nauuna yung kaisipan natin na mahirap yung mathematics kaya mas nahihirapan tayo. So in our class where we have what we call mathematical language, we familiarize ourselves first on the terms, equation, on symbols of mathematics so that we can understand well mathematics. Just like what we are doing, di ba? And if we going to read books in Korean language, for example, we can easily read or we can understand the book, di ba? But when we try to understand terms, the symbols, okay, in Korean, okay, we will be able to understand. So just like in mathematics, ganun din. Kailangan yung mga basic, yung foundation, yung iniisip natin, sinasa puso, yun yung laging sinasabi. Sinasa puso at hindi lang isinasa ulo para mas maintindihan natin yung mathematics. Okay, so are you all ready? Are you all ready? How about a thumbs up from our participants? If we are all ready, pahingi ako ng thumbs up before we start. Okay, 6 thumbs up. How about the others? 9. Okay, so I am guessing that you are all ready, so we can now start our presentation. So the first thing that we will be discussing is the number system. So as we all know, a number is a mathematical object used to count and measure. So basically, we are all familiar with numbers, but we want to focus here in our real number system. So what is a real number system? So this is the structure of our real number system. The real number, yung tinatawag nating real number, this is the one of the biggest set of numbers. One of the biggest kasi meron pa rin mas malaki sa real numbers. Meron tayong tinatawag na complex numbers, which involves imaginary and real numbers. So si real numbers under siya ng complex number, but we want to focus here in real numbers since dito masyado natin mas dinidil yung mga equations natin and yung mga foundations natin in mathematics. So the real numbers are categorized into two. We have the rational numbers and irrational numbers. So rational numbers, these are the non-terminating numbers, non-repeating numbers. So just like pi, yung tinatawag nating pi, yun yung tinatawag nating irrational numbers. Yun yung 3.1417, blah, 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 sobrang haba. So ang tawag natin doon ay irrational numbers. So rational numbers, so ang rational numbers natin ay nahati sa dalawa. So we have fractions and integers. So fractions included dito yung ating mga percentage and also the decimal. Okay? But sabi ko nga, there's an exception sa decimal natin if it is an irrational number. Okay? So we have fraction and integers. Okay, so for integers, we're all familiar dun sa integers natin. So integers is comprised, or integers are comprised of two. We have negative and the whole numbers. So if we say negative integers, these are numbers with negative sign. Okay, so -1, -2. Okay, so we can easily identify negative integers because of the negative symbol. While the whole number, okay, yung whole numbers na tinatawag natin, these are numbers, these are natural numbers including 0. Okay, so anong pagkakaiba ni whole number doon sa baba? We have natural numbers. So pag sinabi natin whole numbers, there's an inclusion of 0. Okay, natural numbers is also called as counting numbers. So, di ba kapag bumibilang tayo, hindi tayo naman nag-i-start into 0. Okay? Hindi tayo nagbibilang ng 0, 1, 2, 3. We count as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, natural numbers, yun yung tinatawag nating counting numbers. So, kapag dinagdag na natin yung set ng 0, then we can call it as whole number. Okay? So, this is the composition of the real number system. Okay, so real number is a value that represents a quantity along a continuous line. So just like what, di ba, noon nung nagtitake tayo ng algebra, we have what we call real number line. Okay, yung napakahabang line na pwede nating mag-insert ng mga points. Okay, so we call it as lahat ng mga nandun sa real number line, we call it as real numbers. Okay, irrational number is any real number that cannot be expressed as a ratio of a divided by b, or a over b, where a and b are integers with b non-zero and is therefore not a rational number. So kapag hindi daw siya rational number, we call it as irrational number. So we also have what we call complex numbers. So it is a number that can be put into a form of a plus b times the imaginary number. Yung I dyan, where a and b are real numbers and the I is called as imaginary. So when we have I square or imaginary yung I natin, I squared is equal to -1. So kapag nilipat natin, square root of -1, pag kinompute natin yan, ang tawag natin doon ay imaginary. Kaya pag sinabi, meron akong jowa, square root of -1. So ang jowa ko ay square root of -1. So ibig sabihin, imaginary yung jowa mo. Okay? So yun yung sa mga pag-aaralan natin. So sabihin natin, meron akong jowa. Yung jowa mo is equal kay square root of -1. So ibig sabihin nito, imaginary. So ibig sabihin, imaginary yung jowa mo. So ito yung sinasabi dito sa ating complex number. Okay? So we have fraction. Fraction is a number written with a as a numerator and with a numerator and denominator. So in which both are natural numbers. So take note of this. So a fraction is consists of numerator, yung nasa taas. Ito, si A. Tawag natin dyan ay numerator. At si B as denominator. So take note that these two should be natural numbers. So again, what are natural numbers? These are counting numbers. So we have three classifications of fraction. So one, we call it as proper fraction. So a proper fraction is a fraction that is less than 1. So anong ibig sabihin nun? So kapag meron tayong mga fraction na hindi mag-i-equal kay 1, we call it as proper fraction. Just like 1/2. Okay, so 1/2 is not equal to 1. Okay, we have also 2/3. Okay, so paano natin ma-identify si proper fraction? We can easily identify proper fraction if the numerator, okay, so we get this example, if the numerator is less than our denominator. So since si 1 mas mababa kaysa 2, then we have proper fraction. Si 2 mas mababa kay 3, so therefore it is proper fraction. We have, for example, 1 million over 1 billion. Since si 1 million mas mababa kay 1 billion, we call it still as proper fraction. Okay? So madali lang nating i-identify si proper fraction. Okay? So while we call it as improper fraction if it is greater than or equal to 1. So paano nga ba nagkakaroon ng equal to 1 na fraction? So yeah, mas madali nating ma-identify na equal to 1 yung fraction kapag they have the same value. So for example, we have 10 over 10, si numerator parehas kay denominator, then we can get as 1. Ibig sabihin 10 over 10 is equal to 1. Okay? So we call it still as improper fraction kasi greater than or equal to. Okay, but meron pa rin tayong mga form na greater than na improper fraction. So anong ini-imply ni improper fraction na greater than? So ibig sabihin, if our proper fraction, our numerator is less than our denominator, here in improper fraction, the numerator is greater than the denominator. So just like, for example, we have 2 over 1, we have 3 over 2. So since 2 is greater than 1, therefore we call it as improper fraction. Since 3 is greater than 2, we call it as improper fraction. And the last categorization of our fraction we call it as mixed number. So ano si mixed number? So a mixed number is a whole number plus a proper fraction. Okay, it is a whole number plus a proper fraction. So just like for example, if we have 1 and 2/3, okay? So since 1 is a whole number and 2/3 is a proper fraction, while why proper fraction? Because 2 is greater than 3. Okay, 2 is less than 3, so therefore it is a proper fraction. Okay, so we call this one as mixed number. So 1 and pag sa oras, di ba mahilig tayo, ilang oras yung discussion ko? It will take 1.5 hours. Okay, so ibig sabihin ng 1.5 hours, 1 and 1/2 hour. Okay, so 1 and 1/2 hour is a kind of improper fraction. So we also take note that a mixed number or an improper fraction can also be a mixed number. So for example, we get 3/2. So si 3/2, pwede siyang maging mixed number. Okay, paano? So change natin siya into improper fraction. So getting the division of 3 or 2, 3 divided by 2. So we get 3 divided by 2 is 1. Tapos i-run yung remainder, magiging 1. So we also get the denominator. So 3/2 is actually equal to 1 and 1/2. And 1 and 1/2 is a mixed number. So therefore, we can say that an improper fraction can be a mixed number. And also mixed number can also be improper fraction. But a proper fraction cannot be a mixed number, and also vice versa, mixed number cannot be a proper fraction. Okay, so that's the fraction. Okay, so yun yung mga basic ng fraction natin. Minsan nakakalimutan natin yan, o minsan kinakalimutan talaga natin because we don't want to reminisce mathematics anymore. Okay, so next we have the real number system. Okay, so I already discussed this one given the composition of the real number system. So I say that a while back I said that an integer consists of 0 and the natural numbers and their negatives, -2, 3, -4, and then we have whole numbers. So whole numbers are counting numbers plus 0. Okay, so starting 0, 1, 2, 3, these are what we call the whole numbers. And then the natural numbers is also known as counting numbers starting 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the real number system. So here we also have some terms in real number system that we can maybe encounter when we are taking examination. So we have what we call the prime and composite number. Are you familiar with prime number? Familiar ba kayo sa prime number? For those mathematics enthusiasts, one of the best thing na anong tawag doon, na inaabangan every year is the largest prime number na nilalabas nila. So actually, every year naglalabas sila ng pinakamalaking prime number. Okay, I am not familiar today kung ano na yung pinakamalaking prime number, but I think ang sure ko na kapag kino-compute nila yung prime number na yun, they're using over thousands or hundreds of supercomputer. Okay, for a while, right, the charge. Okay, so gaya ng sabi ko, so a prime number is a natural number greater than 1 that has no positive divisors other than 1 in itself. So ibig sabihin, natatawag natin siyang prime number kapag ang factors niya lang ay yung 1 at sarili niya. Okay, so ano yung mga number na yon? So it should be greater than 1. So 1 is not a prime number. So si 1 hindi siya prime number. So to a prime number, can I have a thumbs up kapag you guess that 2 is a prime number. Is 2 a prime number? If not, thumbs down. Meron mong thumbs down dito. Si 2 ba prime number? Yes or yes? Okay. So 2 is a prime number. So sabi doon sa ating definition of prime number, the factor is itself and 1. So walang ibang factors, walang ibang makakamultiply na number na ang product niya ay 2, kundi si 2 at si 1 lang. So therefore, 2 is a prime number. 3 is also a prime number, 3 times 1. 4 is not a prime number kasi meron siyang 1 times 4 and then si 2 times 2. Okay. So meron siyang 2, 1, 4 as factor. So therefore, hindi na lang siya C1 in itself. So therefore, if it is not a prime number, we call it as composite number. Okay. If the composite number is a positive integer which has a positive divisor other than 1 in itself. 5 is a prime number. Okay. 5 in itself lang. 5 and 1 lang. And then 6 is a, what is 6? Composite or prime number? Any guess? 6a is a composite number from Amy. Okay, so you have 6. So 6 and 1. Tapos meron siyang 3 and 2. So if we'll go on doon sa lahat ng mga numbers natin, we can identify the prime number, or we can easily identify prime number through using, may mga calculations tayong ginagamit dyan. Okay? So since we will not be dealing with that mga high mathematical terms, yun. So we'll just go to the basic prime numbers. So we have 1, we have 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, okay, 17, 13. So those are prime numbers. So yun yung isa sa mga pinakaabangan kapag math enthusiast kayo, yung pinaka malaking prime number. Sometimes yun yung mga tinitignan namin. Okay? So ninonuse din yun. So after prime and composite, we can now identify what is a prime number, what is a composite number. Next is consecutive integers. You can also encounter this term, consecutive integer. So consecutive integers are 2 or more integers. Okay, so 2 or more integers written in a sequence in which each integer after is 1 more than the preceding integer. So example for consecutive integers are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kaya nga diba when we use consecutive na term, kaya ibig sabihin magkakasunod. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or we can have x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3. So these are examples of consecutive integers. Okay, so 1,000,001, 1,000,002, 1,000,003. Okay, so those are consecutive integers. Next, we have what we call the absolute value of the number x. So I know you are familiar with this absolute value. So absolute value is denoted by this symbol. Okay, para siyang nakakulong. Okay, so it is an undirected distance. So please take note, distance between x and 0 on the number line. Okay, so kapag sinabi nating distance, okay, so for example, galing ako ng PSU, okay? Gusto kong pumunta ng Capitol. So I will be going left, okay? So gaano kalayo ang PSU papuntang Capitol? Sabihin natin gaano ba kalayo? Mga 200 meters. Okay, example, okay? 200 meters 'yun. So kung tatanungin niyo ako kung gaano kalayo, it will be 200 meters. So that's the distance, okay? So how about pag sa PSU ako manggagaling, pupunta ako ng National High School. Okay, Pangasinan National High School. So for example, that's also a 200 meters away from PSU. So the distance of that is also 200 meters. So hindi ko sinasabing negative 200 meters yung papunta ng capital. Hindi ko sinasabing negative 200 meters yung papunta ng Pangasinan National High School because it is a distance. Okay, so when we are talking about distance, we are just checking, or we are just measuring the distance or the value from 0 going to your next destination. So that's also the concept of absolute value. So dito sa absolute value, yung mga negative values natin nagiging positive kasi nga these are undirected distance. So for example, we'll be getting the absolute value of 3, we'll be getting 3, the absolute value of 4, absolute value of negative 4 is 4. So for example, we'll be getting the absolute value of 1 million. Okay, so the absolute value of 1 million is also equal to the absolute value of 1 million. Okay, so equal lang sila kasi we are just checking the distance. So the absolute value of those two integers is also 1 million. Okay, so the same lang sila. Okay, so that's the concept of absolute value and the consecutive integers. Now, we'll be going to one of the crucial operations or concepts in mathematics na lagi tayong nalilito. These are the operations in our integers. Okay, so paano ba tayo nag-ooperate? Kanina we have examples in our in the pre-examination na ginawa natin. That's like, for example, the product of two negative integers or two positive integers. So paano ba natin ino-operate, okay, yung ating sign integers or yung mga integers natin? Okay, so first we have addition. So paano tayo nag-add ng both positive or both negative? So in addition, okay, the first thing that we should take is that to add two integers a and b with the like signs. So ibig sabihin doon sa ating like signs, we are talking about the same signs. Okay, so positive yung isang integer, positive din yung isang integer na na-add natin. And then also negative yung isa, negative yung isa. So if we will be getting the operation or the sum of those integers, what we need to do is just to add their absolute values and affix their common signs. Okay, so add the common values and affix the common signs. So basically, if they are both positive, the answer will be positive also. If they are both negative, the answer will be negative. Okay, so we just get the absolute value. So example here are 5 plus 9. Okay, so positive 5 plus positive 9 is equal to 14. And then we have negative 5 plus negative 9. Since they have the same negative sign, we just copy their sign and then get their absolute value. So absolute value 5 plus 9 is 14 and copy the sign, then we get negative 14. Okay, so again, we just add their absolute values and affix the common signs. Okay, so this is one of the crucial. How about if they don't have the same signs, or what we call the unlike signs? Okay, so to add two integers a and b with unlike signs, we subtract and copy the sign of the bigger number. Okay, so yun yung lagi nating tatandaan. Subtract and copy the sign of the bigger number. Okay, so for example, we have positive 5 plus negative 9. So positive 5 plus negative 9, following the rule for adding two unlike signs, we have subtract. So first subtract. So subtract natin 9 minus 5, we get 4. And what is the sign of the bigger number? So ano yung mataas, si 5 o si 9? So syempre basically si 9. So what is the sign of the bigger number? the sign is negative. So therefore, we copy the negative sign. So that is -4. So again, what you need to do is to copy or to subtract and copy the sign of the bigger number. Okay. Other example, we have -5 plus 9. Okay. Si -5 naman yung may negative sign, while the 9, siya naman yung walang negative sign. So again, the same rule. They don't have the same signs, or they have unlike signs. So we can subtract. So 9 minus 5, we get 4. And what's the bigger number again? We have 9. Okay, so we have positive 9. So therefore, +4. Okay, so let's have an example here. Okay, para naman may participation galing sa ating audience. So get kung sino una makakasagot. Okay, so we have, for example, -27 plus +18. So what's the answer? Okay, from our chat box, write the answer. So -27 plus 18. So I'm getting, may nagsabi, it's -9. Okay. So very good. Okay. The answer is -9 actually. So paano naging -9? So we go back with the rule. We subtract. So 27 minus 18, we have 9. And then what's the bigger number? It's 27. What's the sign of 27? It's negative. So therefore, it's -9. Okay? So nare-refresh tayo, no? Nung mga discussion natin nung high school and college. Okay, so this one, subtraction. So unlike in addition, we have separate rule for like and unlike signs. Here on subtraction, we only have one rule, and that is to change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. Okay, again, change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. So paano natin ginagawa? So let's have an example. So subukan natin. We have 5 minus -9. Okay, so how do we equate 5 minus -9 following the rule for subtraction of integer? So first, we change the sign of the subtrahend. So paano, saan si subtrahend? Si subtrahend po yung pangalawa. Okay, yung nasa pangalawang number. So sabi doon, we change the sign of the subtrahend. So magiging, subtrahend natin magiging +9. Okay. Okay, si subtrahin natin will become, yan. Subtrahin natin magiging 9. And then the next rule, so magiging, and proceed to addition. Okay, so si subtrahin natin, ayan. I'm getting answers na different. We have 14 and -4. So that's ano, no, napaka, how do you call that? Interesting, kasi tingnan natin kung karamihan doon tayo na nalilito. Is it 4, -4, or 14? So ito, ganito po. So first, we change the sign of the subtrahend. So magiging positive yung ating subtrahend. So we get +9, and then we proceed to addition. Okay? So we proceed to addition. So basically, 5 plus 9 will become 14. So I'm seeing some of your answers -4. So yun, medyo refresh tayo ng konti. Mali pala yung process na ginagawa natin. Sa amin, in mathematics, basically ang ginagawa namin, kapag nakita namin na yung dalawang negative nagsama dyan, matik, ginagawa namin yan plus sign. Okay, so nagiging plus sign kaagad. 5 plus 9, so 14. Okay, so upon seeing your answers, maybe we can have some more examples. Okay, how about we say we have -5 minus 9? Okay, magiging iba din ba yung sagot natin doon? Okay, negative 5 minus 9. Okay, so again, the rule is to change the sign of the subtrahend. So yung subtrahend natin is positive 9. So hindi siya negative kasi yung negative, that's the subtraction symbol. So we have negative 9. Okay, negative 9, and then the rule is to proceed to addition. So si subtraction magiging, yan, so si 9 naging negative, that's the first rule. Si subtraction magiging addition, that's the second rule. So we have negative 5 plus negative 9, so that will become negative 14. Okay. Negative 14. Bakit negative 14? Again, following the rule for addition with like signs, you just add the absolute values of both integers and then copy the sign. So negative 14 po. I am seeing some of the answers are still 4. Yun. So nahilo daw si Floor. Okay, medyo nakakahilo, but we take the rule. Again, we change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. Okay, let's have more examples. Medyo exciting to. So how about, so na-try na natin si positive to negative, negative, negative. How about, so 5 minus 9, positive, positive. Positive, positive. So 5 minus 9. So subukan natin to, 5 minus 9. So again,
Negative.
the rule is to change the sign.
4.
So madali, negative 4, di ba? So we change the sign, pero using the rule, we change the sign. We have negative 9, and then si positive, si subtraction magiging addition. So subukan natin kung negative 4 nga using the rule of addition na tayo ngayon, di ba? So rule in addition, again, babalik tayo. Since meron tayong addition dito, 5 plus negative 9. What's the rule in addition? We subtract 9 minus 5. We have 4. And then copy the sign of the bigger number, which is 9. So we get negative 4. Okay? So negative 4. And then, what about negative 5? Parang nanginginig na yung sulat ko. So pagpasensyahan niyo na po yung sulat ko. I am just using my mouse. Okay. So fourth example, we have negative 5 minus negative 9. So kanina we have negative 5 minus negative 9. Tapos pumunta tayo ng negative 5 minus 9. Then we have 5 minus 9. Next example is this. We have negative 5 minus negative 9. So sometimes we are putting parenthesis signs sa negative para mas familiar tayo. I am getting medyo hindi pare-pares yung sagot. Let's check. Okay, so let's go back to the rule. Again, change the sign of the subtrahend. Ano yung subtrahend natin? This negative sign. So what's the new sign? We have positive 9. And then yung next natin, yung ating subtraction magiging plus. So we have negative 5 minus negative 5 plus 9. So what's the rule in addition? So again, we subtract 9 minus 5, we get 4, and we copy the sign of the bigger number. So what's the bigger number, 5 or 9? So 9 positive, so therefore positive 4. Okay, nagets po ba natin? Medyo malinaw po. So we take note of this rule. Nalimutan ko na yung rule sa sign. Ayan, sabi ni Rim. Okay, so we take note of this rule. So isa puso natin. Okay, so again, in addition, ano yung ginagawa natin? In addition, ano yung ginagawa natin? So to add, we subtract and copy the sign of the bigger number. So addition, subtract, and copy the sign of the bigger number. Sulat natin yon. Pag hindi natin natatandaan by means of memorizing, sulat natin. So again, the rule for addition with unlike signs is to subtract and copy the sign of the bigger number. Okay. How about subtraction? Ang rule natin sa subtraction, we change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. Again, change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. doing addition with unlike sign, subtract and copy the sign of the bigger number. For subtraction, change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. Actually, this statement, itong rule na to, ito yung pinapangalagaan namin since high school pa ako. Okay, so ganun na katagal na nag-i-stay tong rule na to sa akin. So lagi kapag nag-add ako ng unlike sign, I remember that you have to subtract and copy the sign of the bigger number. And if ever I will be subtracting integers, I always remember to change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. Okay, so ito yung ating subtraction. We change the sign of the bigger, change the sign of the subtrahend. Yung subtrahend natin yung pangalawang number doon sa ating pangalawang number sa ating subtraction. Okay, change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. Okay, so medyo na-refresh tayo, medyo nalito, pero we follow the rule. Always stick to the rule. Okay, so para matandaan natin yung rule natin. Okay, so subtraction, change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. Okay, how about in multiplication and division, sir? Okay, so in multiplication and division, they have the same rule. Okay, so this is the very easy one. So unlike dun sa subtrahend na nakakahilo, sa subtraction na nakakahilo, dito sa multiplication and division, this is very easy. Okay, so with the same signs or like signs, okay, positive, both positive or both negative, lahat ng magiging product and quotient ng ating operation ay always positive. If they have unlike signs like negative, positive, and positive, negative, the product and the quotient will be negative. So for example, positive 1 times positive 2 will become positive 2. Okay, positive 1 here. Okay, we have negative 1 times negative 2. So since they have the same signs, negative, so you will be getting positive. So positive 2. So how about unlike signs? We have negative 1 times 2. So since they don't have same signs, then the answer is negative. So multiply 1 times 2 is 2, and the sign will be negative. Okay, so that's very easy. So with the same signs, they're always positive. With unlike signs, they're always negative. So that's operation for sign integers. Okay, next, move on na tayo. So again, in addition, ano yung tatandaan natin? In addition, we subtract and copy the sign of the bigger number. And then for subtraction, we change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. Okay. Along the way, you can also encounter these terms. You have even and odd numbers. So if we say that's an even number, we say that it is any whole number that has 2 as a factor. So kung pwede siyang ma-divide sa 2, ibig sabihin, that's an even number. If that number is not divisible by 2, so therefore it is an odd number, hindi siya even number. So ganun lang ka-importante. Okay, even number, yung sabi natin 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, even number, yung 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, so those are odd numbers. So wag tayong malito sa prime versus composite, tapos sa even versus odd. Okay, sa prime, ibig sabihin yung factors na 1 in itself. Okay, prime and composite. Kapag even and odd, ang pinag-uusapan natin is 2 as a factor. Okay, so let's have some important facts about odd and even. So actually, if you add if two numbers are both even or both odd, their sum and difference are even. Okay, so kapag daw nag-add tayo ng both even and both odd, yung magiging addition and subtraction operation nila will become even. And if one number is even and then other is odd, their sum and difference are odd. So ibig sabihin kapag both even, both both add, magiging even. And then kapag unlike sila ng nature, okay, yung isa add, yung isa even, then their sum and difference are odd. Okay, while the product of two numbers is even unless both of them are odd. So isa lang yung instance natin. We will be getting the probability. Isa lang yung instance natin na maging odd yung dalawang yung product ng dalawang numbers natin kapag they are both odd also. So just like for example 3 and 5, they will become 15. So 15 is an odd number. So other than that, all the products of the probable combinations of numbers will become even. Okay, even siya. So we're done with integers, with real number system. So una pa lang yon, it's already anong oras na? So pwede kayong mag anong tawag doon? A working break. So you can take your dinner while listening para ninanamnam natin yung mga numbers natin. Baka hindi kayo makatulog mamaya at isipin niyo yung negative and positive na subtraction. Okay? So we have factors and multiples. Okay? So how about a thumbs up before tayo magsimula? Let's see kapag nandyan pa rin kayo. Thumbs up. Yan. So it's good to see that you're still with me. Okay. So factors and multiples. Okay. So if A and B are whole number and A is not equal to 0, then A is a factor of B if and only if there is a whole number C such that A multiplied to C is equal to B. Okay. Or we can say that A is a factor of B if A divides B. Okay? So, kung isipin natin, kung babasahin natin, parang mahirap yung definition ng factor natin. Pero ang sinasabi lang dito, yung factor na tinatawag natin kapag yung isang number, like for example, 4, yung mga factors niya yung makakapag divide sa ating number 4. So for example, 4, madi-divide niya syempre si 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. We have 1. 4 divided by 1 is 4. So kung may result siya na whole number, therefore it can be a factor of our number. So 4, for example, 2. Okay, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So actually those are the, so si 3 hindi niya na factor si 3 kasi si 4 divided by 3 is hindi na siya whole number. So therefore the factors of 4 is 4, 1, and 2. Okay? So, yan yung tinatawag nating factor. So, ganun lang kasimple. Pero pag binasa natin, medyo mahirap yung definition ng factors natin. Pero ang ibig sabihin lang niya kapag nag-divide tayo sa number na yon at may nakuha tayong whole number, therefore, it is a factor of that number. Okay? So, we can also say A divides B, just like this one. Okay? So, si A divides B, si A tapos straight line na B, magkaiba sila ni A divided by B. Okay, so actually magkaiba si A divides B. So please take note of this. A divides B, yung A tas straight line na B ay magkaiba. It's not equal to A divided by B. Okay, so bakit? So kapag sinabi natin A divided by B, si B, okay, kung sinabi natin A divided by B, itong A, okay. Pag sinabi natin A divided by B, yung karaniwang ginagawa natin sa division, okay, sinasabi natin na si B, okay, ay i-divide niya kay A. So, babaliktad siya. Ganyan. Okay, so ganyan yung magiging form ng division natin. While, if we say A divides B, we say that A, yan, ganito yung form niya. So, hindi sila equal. So, a great example of this one is getting this one. Okay? So, 0 divides 3 is 0, ganito, divides 3. And then 3 divides 0 is 3 divides 0. Okay, so this is a great example. Bakit? Kasi if we will be using our calculator, you try to divide 0 divides 3. Ano makukuha natin? Any answer? What is 0 divides 3? 0 divides 3 is 0, sabi ni Joshua, sabi ni Jujun, 0, Michelle, 0. Okay, so actually, 0 divides 3 is not equal to 0. Okay, this is equal to, yung tinatawag, ito yung tinatawag nating, ang lalabas ata dyan, syntax error. Okay, ito yung tinatawag nating undefined. Okay, so magkaiba siya. Okay, so hindi siya actually 0. Okay, yung ginagawa nyo para mag-equal sa 0, yung ating division, ay itong 3 divides 0. Okay, so kabaliktaran ng ating ginagawang division. Okay, so 3 divides 0 is actually equal to 0, while 0 divides 3 is undefined. Kaya nga yung first statement natin doon, A should not be equal to 0 because if that will equal to 0, or A will be equal to 0, then it will be undefined. Okay, U and D to, U and D. Okay, we call it as undefined. Okay, so every number has a finite set of factors or divisor or infinite set of multiples. So we have -3, which is a factor of 12 also. So those are examples of factors. So again, huwag tayong malito when we are getting divides. Okay, so magkaiba si A divided by. Kaya ang tawag natin dyan, A divided by. Dito, A divides B. Okay. So, grammatically, kapag check din natin, di ba? So, magkaiba talaga sila. Kasi si A mismo yung dinidivide mo by B. While A is divided by B, ang ibig sabihin mo, si B ang dinidivide mo kay A. Okay, so ganun yun. So, they are not equal. Okay, next term, we have the greatest common factor. Ito yung karaniwang kinukuha natin. Bakit importanteng kunin si greatest common factor? Actually, ginagamit natin si greatest common factor even in operating fraction. So later on, we will be discussing fraction, operations on fraction. We'll be getting this greatest common factor. So how do we get greatest common factor? So let A and B be natural numbers. The greatest natural number or the greatest common factor, D, that divides both A and B, is called the greatest common factor or the divisor. So for example, we want to get the greatest common factor of 180 and 220. So anong ginagawa natin? We just get the factors of 180. So ano yung factors ni 180? So paano natin nakuha si 2, 2, 3, 5, 3, 5? Okay, so ganito. So sinusulat natin si 180. Then we think of the highest prime number na pwedeng mag-divide kay 180. Ano yung pinakamalaking prime number na pwedeng mag-divide kay 180? So, unahin natin si 5. So, we are familiar. Si 5. The lowest pala. The lowest prime. Okay? Na pwedeng mag-divide. So, you have 2. So, syempre, ang pinakamaliit natin is 2. So, si 2 yung una nating nilalagay. So, 2 divided by 180 is 90. Okay? 2 divided by 180. Tama. 2 divided by 180 is 90. Okay? And then, si 2 ba pwede din kay 90? Factor niya rin ba si 90? Yes. Okay? So, 2 divided by 90, you get 45. Okay? Si 45 ba, pwede pa rin si 2. Okay, so hindi na. So basically, yung next na prime natin, which is 3. So if you can see, related yung mga diniscuss natin kanina, si prime, si composite, si factor dito. So si 3 divided by 45, what is 3 divided by 45? We get 15. Si 3 ba, pwede pa rin kay 15? Yes. So 3 divided by 15, you get 5. Si 5, meron pa rin bang pwedeng makadivide? Wala na. Tama? So since wala na kasi si 5 na lang at si 1 yung natitira, so ititigil na natin tong process na to. So we have 2, 2, 3, 3, 5. So we have 2. Actually, kapag minultiply mo to, 2 times 2 is 4 times 3 is 12 times 3 is 36 times 5, we get 180. So ang tawag natin dito is the prime factorization ng 180. Okay? We call it as prime factorization. Okay? So how about the two? So hindi pa dyan natatapos yung GCF. Hindi pa natin nakukuha yung GCF done. It is just the prime factorization of 180. So next natin, syempre, si 220. Okay? Si 220. Okay? So we get the prime factorization of 220. So we start with the lowest or smallest prime. We have 2. So 2 divided by 220 is 110. Then divided by 2, we get 55. Si 3 ba pwede kay 55? Nope. Okay, so what's the next? Since si 2 at si 3 hindi pwede kay 55, we get 5. Okay, so 5 divided by 55, we get 11. So we have 2 times 2 times 5 times 4. Okay, so to get the GCF of these two, we'll be just getting the same na prime na meron sa kanila. So you have 2, 2, wala, meron bang 3? Kaya 220, wala. So you have 5. Okay? 2, 2, 5. So we get 2 times 2 times 5. So yung may para silang prime factors, okay, yun yung magiging GCF nila. So yun yung the same doon sa both numbers natin. So you have 180 and 220. So you have 2, 2, and 5. So 2 times 2 times 5, you get 20. So 20 is the greatest common factor of 180 and 220. Okay, nagets natin? So kinukuha lang natin yung same prime factors ng ating numbers. Okay, so you use of prime factorization, yung ganito, para makuha natin yung ating greatest common factor. Okay, so we go to next, we have what we call the least common multiple. So si least common multiple naman, kinukuha natin yung pinakamalaking multiples nung ating number. Okay, so for example, we get the least common multiple of 2, 24, and 44. So the same, ganun yung gagawin natin. So we get the prime factorization of 24. Okay, so smallest number is 2. And then we get 12. Kaya pa ba si 2? Yes. Then we get 6. Si 6, kaya pa ba? Yes. We get 2, 3. Pwede pa pala 2 times 3. Okay. And then next we have 44. 44. We get the prime factorization of 44. We have 2. So we have 22. And then smallest number is 2, 11. Since 11 is a prime number, so doon na tayo mag-stop. 2 times 2 times 11. So dito naman yung concept natin in LCM, hindi na natin kinukuha yung parehas, kundi we get lahat ng yung prime factorization ng ating number. So 2, since parehas sila, so isa na lang yan, 2. Then you have 2 and 3. So you have 2 times 2, 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 11. Okay, which is this is also equal to 6. Okay, so you have 2 times 2 times 6 times 11, we get 264, and 264 is the LCM of 24 and 44. Okay, so unlike dun sa ginagawa natin sa GCF, we just get the same prime. Dito, we get all the prime factors. Okay, given na kapag may mga the same, it is considered as one prime factor. Okay, so that's for least common multiple. Okay, so these are some of the divisibility rules. So I will not be expounding this one, but you can get some insight of this so that if ever you will be encountering divisibility, this will become easy for you. Ibig sabihin, kapag nag-divide tayo, meron tayong concept na ganito, we can easily identify if it is divisible or not. So sabi dito sa ating divisibility rule, if a number is divisible by 2 if last digits is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So lahat daw ng numbers na ang last digit niya nagtatapos siya sa 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, lahat 'yon ay divisible sa 2. So 10, 1 million, 100, 1 million 2, 1,468. So those are divisible by 2. Okay? So a number is also divisible by 3 if the sum of 3 digits are divisible by 3. So kapag pinag-add daw natin yung digit na yun, is magiging divisible sa 3. So for example, we have 3, 3, 6. Okay, so 3 plus 3 plus 6 equals 12. Okay, so si 12 ay divisible sa 3 kasi pwede siyang ma-divide sa 3. Kung hindi pa rin tayo sure na si 12 ay divisible by 3, pwede natin gawing 1 plus 2 pa rin. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Si 3 ay divisible kay 3. Okay? So ganun lang ganun yung sinasabi sa divisibility ng 3. Kapag pinag-add daw natin lahat ng numbers, so for example, million yung number na yun, and we want to know if it is divisible by 3. So ang gagawin lang natin, we just add all the digits and then the sum, if the sum is divisible by 3, then it is divisible by 3 also. Okay, next is 4 if the last two digits are divisible by 4. So for example, 1,048. Okay, if it is divisible by 4, 48 is divisible by 4. Yes, kasi 48 divided by 4 is 12. Okay, so since it is divisible by 4, then we say that 1,048 is also divisible by 4. So parang ito yung shortcut, okay? Shortcut no pag-divide natin, okay? So again, in 5, if the last digit is 0 or 5. For 6, if the number is divisible by 2 and 3. If 7, yung 7 and 11, yun yung mahirap gawin kasi ito yung paulit-ulit na process. Kapag hindi ka pa rin satisfy, okay, can continue and continue until it is divisible by 7. Sabi dito, cross off last digit, double it and subtract. So kunin mo yung last digit ng number and then you double it, you multiply it by 2 and then subtract. Repeat it if you want. So if no number is divisible by 7 then the original number is divisible by 7. So while on 8, if it is divisible by 8, if the last 3 digits is divisible by 8. For 9, if the sum of the digit is divisible by 9, so therefore, yun nga, divisible by 9 siya. If the digit is 0, if the last digit is 0, then it is divisible by 10. So for 11, subtract the last digit for the number formed by the remaining digits. If no number is divisible by 11, the original number is divisible by 11 also. And for number 12, if it is divisible by 3 and 4. So these are some of our divisibility. If you want to study for this divisibility rules, you can take a screenshot of this one and then try to do this one. Okay. Next, to. Familiar ba tayo? PEMDAS. Sometimes we always see kapag, di ba, kapag member tayo dun sa mga groups, sa mga review sa Facebook, or sometimes even sa mga short quizzes sa Facebook, we always see PEMDAS. Okay. So paano ba yung PEMDAS na sinatawag natin? So PEMDAS stands for parenthesis, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Okay? So, paano nga ba siya nagpa-follow nung process? So, kaya nga, parenthesis, exponent, because it is the order of ito yung order ng process natin. So, ibig sabihin, nauna si parenthesis, si exponent, okay? Si multiplication and division, the same lang sila. Okay? Si multiplication at division, the same lang sila. Tapos, we have addition and subtraction, iisa lang din sila. Okay, so paano siya? First, the expression inside the parentheses. Okay, so we first calculate kung ano yung, kung nakakita tayo ng operation na nasa parentheses, yun yung inuuna natin. And then next, we go to the exponents. Then after that, if no operation separates multiplication and division, we perform from left. Okay, take note from left hand side to right hand side, whichever comes first. So for example, 1 times 2 divided by 3. So ipi-perform natin siya from left to right. So una natin si 1 times 2. So 1 times 2 is 3 1 times 2 is 2 divided by 3 will become 2/3. Okay? So from left to right, multiplication, division, the same ng level. And also for the addition and subtraction, we perform it also from left to right. Okay, so let's have an example here. Sayang may sagot na yung ano, dapat wala pa lang. So for example, you have 4 plus 3 times 5. Okay, so perform multiplication first kasi doon sa MDAS natin, mas nauuna si M kaysa kay A. Tama? Okay, so for multiplication first before addition. Okay, so we have, una na natin si multiplication. So 3 times 5. So what is 3 times 5? Is 15. So we get 4 times 15. Tapos sunod natin si addition. We have 4 plus 15. We get 19. Okay? Napaka easy. Okay? Easy. Next example, we have parentheses 3 plus 3 times 5. Okay? So since we have an expression inside the parentheses, sabi doon sa PEMDAS natin, mas nauna si parentheses, si P. So unahin natin yung nasa parentheses. Okay? So you have 3 plus 3 will become 6. Okay? And then we perform multiplication after the parentheses. So times 6, we have 6 times 5 will get 30. And this is also easy. Okay? Hindi na tayo nalilito. Okay. How about this one? 8 plus 4 square times 3. Okay. So, PEMDAS ulit. Anong mauna? Anong unang gagawin natin dyan? We go the exponent first. Okay? May exponent tayo dyan. Since nauna si E dun sa PEMDAS, unahin natin equate sa exponent. So, you have 8. 4 square is 4 times 4. Okay. So, pag sinabi nating exponent, yun yung beses kung ilang beses mo i-multiply sa sarili niya yung number na yun. So 4 square is equal to 4 times 4, which is equal to 16. So pag sinabi natin 4 raised to the power of 4, ibig sabihin nun 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Okay? So 4 na beses kasi 4 daw. Okay, so 4 square is 16. So meron tayong 8 plus 16 times 3. So what will go next? Okay, PEMDAS, is it addition or multiplication? So balik tayo ng PEMDAS. It is M. Okay, si M muna bago A. So therefore, we multiply first. 16 times 3 is 48. And then we go to addition. 8 plus 48 is 56. Okay, next we have 3 times 4 plus 6 times 2 minus 5. Ito na yung medyo lagi nating nakikita sa Facebook, no? Kapag pre-set na yan, iba-iba na tayo ng sagot. Okay, so by using PEMDAS, anong mauna? So we have multiplication. So dalawa yung multiplication natin. So unahin natin yung nasa left. Okay, so we have 3 times 4, you get 12. Okay, plus, yun yung plus, mayroon ulit ditong multiplication. 6 times 2 is also 12. Okay, minus 5. Okay, so we have 12 minus 12 minus 5. So anong mauna? Okay, so you can see you have add and subtract there. Okay, so sabi natin they have the same level. Si multiplication at division, the same lang kay addition also and kay subtraction. So, ang gagawin lang natin dun sa operation, we just equate it from left to right. Okay, so unahin natin syempre si addition kasi yun yung nasa left. Okay, so 12 plus 12 is 24 minus 5. So, paano kapag si subtraction yung nauna? 12 minus 12, for example, plus 5. So, ganun pa rin since they have the same level. Okay, so ang ginagawa natin, inuuna natin yung sa left. So 12 minus 12 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. So not necessarily nauna si add. Okay, we take note na si multiplication, division, si addition, subtraction are the same. Okay, in level ng equation natin. It's just that we have to equate from left to right, or we have to calculate from left to right. So for this one, we have 24 minus 5 will be equal to 19. Okay, so any question with our PEMDAS? Let's have an example here. Okay, I know you are excited for this. So for example, we have -1 plus 1 times 1 minus 1 minus 1 times 1 plus 1 plus 1. So try to answer this one. Karamihan, ito yung mga nakikita natin sa So this is our example. Try to answer. We have -1 plus 1 times 1 minus 1 minus 1 times 1 plus parentheses 1 plus 1. So ano kayong sagot? Maski ako di ko pa alam. Let's try to compute the ballpen bar. So, 1, so what will be the answer? May I see? Some answer 0, some answers 2. Sabi ni Franz 3. Okay, so we're getting not the same answers. Okay, so how do we get that? PEMDAS. So una, equate natin si parenthesis. So we have 1 plus 1, so magiging 1. And then next, we go to walang exponent. So multiplication and division tayo. So unay natin si multiplication division. So nakikita natin meron tayong dalawa. Meron tayong dalawa. Meron tayong dalawa dyan na multiplication. So you have -1 plus what is 1 times 1? Equals 1 minus 1 minus 1 times 1 is 1 plus, 1 plus 1 pala dito is 2. Nalito na. You have 2. Okay? So, ayan. So, since we have addition, subtraction na lang, AS, we just equated or calculated from left to right. Okay, so unahin natin from left, -1 plus 1 is equal to 0. Tama? Okay, minus 1 plus 2. Okay, so 0 minus 1 is -1. Okay, so -1 minus 1 plus 2 equals -1 minus 1. What is -1 minus 1?
0.
Okay, is equal to 0. Change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. -1 minus 1 is -2. Okay, so change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. So magiging -1 plus -1, we have -2 plus 2. Okay, so -2 plus 2 is
0.
0. So the answer will be 0. Okay, nakakalito, no? So, yun. We just follow the rule PEMDAS to come up with the answer. Okay. Next, we go to ratio and proportion. How about a thumbs up kung kaya pa? Thumbs up.
Kaya pa.
Kakayanin. It's already 8:33. Okay. So, hindi ko alam kung pang ilan na to. Okay, so ratio and proportion. Okay. So for ratio and proportion, a ratio is a comparison of two numbers, A and B, with B not equal to 0. Okay, so if and may be expressed to form of A to B, or A is to B, or A is to B also. Ang basa dito is A is to B, then A is to B is also the or A over B. Okay. And then, for example, we get what is the ratio of the number of women arrested to the number of men arrested. So for example, there are 50 women arrested, then 1,000 men arrested. Okay, so we'll be getting, since we're getting women first, dun sa ating ratio, so we have 250 is to 1,000. Okay, so that is our ratio. Okay, so basically wala namang calculation sa ratio, maliban lang if we want to parang sa fraction, ipaliitin yung number. Okay, so doon na pumapasok yung mga pinag-aralan natin sa GCF. Okay, so for example, in proportion. Okay, so in proportion, for any two equal ratios, so kapag meron tayong dalawang equal ratios daw, for example, si A is to B and C is to D, okay, we call it as proportion. So this one is a proportion. So the rules state that, okay, rules state that the product, or the rule states that the product of the means is equal or equals to the product of the extremes. Okay, so this is extremes. Again, the product of the means is equal or equals to the product of the stream. So ano yung means natin? Ano yung extreme na tinatawag natin? Yung means na tinatawag natin, yung dalawa na nasa loob ng ating ratio and ng ating proportion. While yung nasa dulo natin, we call it as extreme. Si 1 and 360, we call it as extreme. So for example, we want to get 1 is to 18, which is equal to n. N is to 360. So sabi doon, the product of the means is equal to the product of the stream. So what is the product of the means? We have 18 times n. Okay, or tanggalin na natin si x. Gumamit tayo ng parenthesis. Okay, so 18 times n is also equal to the product of the stream. So 1 times 360. Okay, so we have 18n divided by 360. So paano yung ginagawa natin dyan? We just divide 180. So 360 divided by 180. Ano yung sagot? $360 divided by 18.
20.
You get?
20.
Okay, you will be having 20. Okay, so that is 20. So 20 is our n. So we have 1 is to 18, which is equal to 20 is to 360. So that is what we call proportion. Okay, the product of the means is equal to the product of extremes. So yung rule na matatandaan natin sa proportion. Product of the means is always equal to the product of extreme. So we go to next, operations in fraction. Okay, so adding similar fraction is very easy. So in adding similar fractions, you just have to add the numerator and copy the denominator. So sa fraction, ang ginagawa lang natin kapag parehas sila, we call it a similar fraction kapag parehas sila ng ating denominator. Just like this one. Okay, so ang ginagawa lang natin, pinag-add lang natin yung mga nasa taas. So 1/2 plus 2/5 is equal to 1 plus 2 over 5, which will be equal to 3/5. Okay, 1/8 plus 2/8 plus 4/8 is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 4 over 8. We get 7/8. Okay, 1/9 plus 3/9 plus 7/9 will be equal to 11/9. So madali lang. We just add the numerator, then we copy the denominator. So the problem is kapag hindi na siya parehas dun sa ating denominator. Okay, so dito na po pasok yung pinag-aralan natin sa LCM. So we get the LCM. So for example, we have 1/2 plus 1/3. We get the LCM of 2 and 3 first. Tapos change natin yung fraction doon sa similar o yung what do you call that one? Doon sa equal fraction niya. Okay? Doon sa equal fraction niya. So for example, we get the LCM of 2 and 3. So what is the LCM of 2 and 3? So basically, we multiply 2 times 3, we get 6. Okay? So 6 is the this common multiple of 2 and 3. So how do we equate that? Okay, so 6 divided by 2, or 6 divides 2. Okay, so you will be getting, there's a question, ang sabi doon, pwede po bang gawing improper fraction yung 11 over 9? Kanina, yes. Yung example natin kanina, tama. Pwede ba nating gawing proper fraction? Siguro yung sinasabi ni ano. Pwede ba natin gawing improper fraction yung 11? So 11 over 9 is an improper fraction. Yun yung tanong dun sa ating chat box. 11 over 9 is an improper fraction. There are times na nire-require tayo to have this improper fraction into mixed numbers. So how do we do that? We just divide 9 divided by 11. So we have 9 divided by 11 is 1. And then the remainder will be, so ginagawa natin siyang mixed number 1. Okay, the whole number is 1. And then we get, what is the remainder for 9 divided by 11? We get 2. Okay, so 2. Okay, 2. And then we copy the denominator, which is 9. So kapag kung 11, 9 ginawa nating mixed number, we get 1 and 2, 9. Okay, so thank you for that question. Okay, so familiar tayo to change. Okay, yes, there are times na kailangan nating i-change. Okay, yung ating improper fraction to proper fraction, or we say it mixed number. Okay, so here, go back dun sa ating example. So 6 ang ginagawa natin dyan. So si 1/2 gusto natin kunin yung equal niya na ang denominator is 6. So ang ginagawa natin, we just divide this one and then multiply to 1. So 6 divides 2 is 3. So 3 times 1, it is 3. Okay. So equal siya actually. Paano naging equal, sir? Okay. So kapag visualize natin, for example, meron tayong pizza, isipin nyo pizza yan. Ang 1/2, ibig sabihin kalahati ng pizza. Okay, so ito yung kinain natin. So kapag 3/6, ibig sabihin 6 yung hati. So this one, sabihin natin equal this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 na hati. Eh, 3 yung kinain. So, 3. 1, 2, 3. So, ito yun. So, makikita natin, si 1/2 ay equal lang kay 3/6. Kaya siya equal dito. So, kapag pinalitan natin si 1/2 ng 3/6, the same lang din siya. Kaya gusto lang natin, si 6 ay maging the same yung kanilang denominator para ma-add natin yung ating fraction. So, we have 3/6. So, the same process dun sa ginawa natin sa ating 1/2. So, 1/3. Gusto natin makuha yung similar fraction niya. So, we just divide here. 6 divides 3. You have 2 times 1. Dito, you get 2/6. So, plus 2. So, now, since they have the same denominator, we can easily add our fraction. So, 2 plus 3, you get 5/6. Okay, how about our second example? Sinong gustong sumagot? Okay, you can have that as an example. So what is the least common multiple of 3, 6, and 8? So mag-iisip ka ng yung susunod na number sa 3, 6, and 8, mas malaki sa 3, 6, and 8 na pwedeng makapag-divide sa 3, 6, and 8 also.
24.
So you get 24. Okay, so 24 divided by 3, you will be getting, what is 24 divided by 3? This 8 times 2. Okay, so you get 16 plus, okay, 24 divided by 6, or 24 divides 6. 24 divides 6 is 4 times 1, you get 4. 24 divides 8. 24 divides 8 is 3 times 1, so plus 3. So you get 16 plus 4 plus 3. May nakita ko sa chat box, tama. You get 23/24. Okay? So very easy. Na-apply natin yung mga pinag-aralan natin sa LCM and GCF. Okay, so that's operation in fraction in addition. Okay, addition and subtraction. Okay, so how about this one? Multiplication. Okay, madali lang sa multiplication. Okay, so ang ginagawa lang natin doon, familiar tayo dito. We get the reciprocal of our multiplier, and then minamultiply lang natin both numerator and denominator. Okay, hindi na pala natin kinuha yung reciprocal. That's for division. Okay, we just get the product of our numerator and the product of our denominators. For example, we have 4/5 times 1/3. So that's 4 times 1, 5 times 3. So madali lang, 4/15. Okay, 2/3 times 5, 6. We have 2 times 10, 2 times 5. Then we have 3 times 6, 10, 18. Okay, so this one, you can change 10, 18 to much smaller equal fraction. So divided by 2, you can get 5/9. So these are both equal. Okay, so madali lang sa ating subtraction. Sometimes ang ginagawa kapag meron tayong paano ba yun? Makukuha natin yung LCM or yung factors ng ating mga denominator and numerator, we can process it using cross multiplication, pero dinidivide ka agad natin. Okay, so next for division, ito na yung ginakuha natin reciprocal, and we get the reciprocal of the divisor, then we multiply. Okay, so kapag sinabi natin reciprocal, we swap the numerator and the denominator. So for example, reciprocal no 2/3, we get 3/2. This is not equal to. So yun yung reciprocal natin. Okay, so for example, we have 3/5 divided by 2/3. We get the reciprocal of 2/3. So the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. Okay, and then we multiply kaagad. Okay, so 3 times 3, 5 times 2. So we get 9/10. Okay, so the same 5/6, we get the reciprocal of 10/7 will become 7/10. So dito, meron tayong ginagamit na shortcut process. Sometimes pag nakita natin that they have the same factor, okay, ginagawa natin yung cross multiplication. So we have 5 magiging 1. Kapag divide natin si 5 sa 5 will become 1. 5 divided by 10 is 2. Okay? 5 divided by 10. So using multiplication, 1 times 7 is 7, and then 6 times 2 we get 12. So actually 35/60 is also equal to 7/12 pag dinivide natin sa 5. Okay? So yun yung ginagawa nating process for division. So that's operation. Those are the operations that we use in fraction. How about the decimal? Okay. In adding decimal, for example, 3.02 plus 80.40, ang ginagawa natin, ina-align lang natin yung decimal point, okay, ng ating decimal number, tapos ina-add na natin. So ganyan yung arrangement, yung sa example natin. Then we add, okay, 1, 2, 4, tapos yung decimal, tapos 3, 8. Okay? So that's basically what we're doing in adding. Okay? Don't forget to align yung ating decimal point. Okay. In subtraction, ganun din. We also align decimal point. Okay? So, for example, this one, yun. So just like we are adding whole numbers also, or subtracting whole numbers also. Okay, very easy. Okay, you just align. Okay, how about multiplying? Okay, decimal with decimal point. Okay, so the decimal point in the product has something to do with the number of the decimal of the factors. Okay, so for example, we have 3.6 times 4. So in this example, only one factor has decimal number. The other is a whole number. So to multiply, first ignore the decimal number or the decimal point, then just put the multiply, just the multiply, then just multiply the number. So 3.6 times 4. So you get 4, tapos 14. 24 times 14. Okay? And then kung ilan yung decimal place niya dun sa point, dun din natin nilalagay yung point natin. So it will be equal to 14.4. Okay. So 0.2. Okay? So minamultiply natin siya just like a whole number, and then kung ilang places yung decimal point natin, yun din natin nilalagay dun sa final or the resulting number ng ating multiplication. Okay? So how about in dividing? Okay? So what is 18.5 divided by 0.2? So to get rid the decimal point of 0.2, we multiply it by 0 first. So if we do this, we can multiply 18.5 by 10. Okay, this gives us 185 divided by 2, which is 92.4. Okay, so the same din yung ginagawa natin. Actually, kapag nagde-divide tayo, 0.2, di ba dumadagdag yung decimal point dun sa ating dito din sa ating loob, sa ating divisor. So 0.2, how many decimal point? 1. So mag-move din tayo ng 1 dyan. So it will become 2 divided by 185. So 2 divided by 185, the resulting number is 92.5. Okay. And then the same dito, we have 0.3. So i-move natin ng isa. Ito na move din ng isa. So ganun lang yung ginagawa natin. So magiging 3 divided by 42.6. Okay, so the same. Yung decimal point pupunta dyan. Okay, so ganun yung ginagawa natin. We have 14.2. So that's division of decimal numbers. Okay, next we have percentage. So percentage na number ratio expressed as a fraction of 100. So actually kapag naglalagay tayo ng percentage, we are always dividing it into 100. So when we say 10%, we really say that it is 10 out of 100, or in fraction notation, we call it as 10 over 100. So therefore, when we see that a t-shirt is sold for 50%, we actually say that it is 50 out of 100 or 50 over 100. So half. Kasi yung 50 over 100 is equal to 1/2 also. Kaya half yung 50%. Okay. So converting percent to fractions for faster calculation. So madali lang. Okay. 10%, we have 1 over 10 because it is 10 over 100. Okay. So divided by 10, it will become 1 over 10. Okay, 25% is 1/4. Yung mga very easy na ano, diba? Pag sinabi ng 25%, it is actually 1/4. 50% is 1/2. 60% is 3 over 5. 70% is 3/4. And then our 80% is actually 4/5 or 4 over 5. Okay, so for example, we have a problem here. A 640 peso shirt is marked 25% discount. So how much will you have to pay for it? So ilan daw yung babayaran mo kung wari nakakita ka ng 640 pesos na shirt sa Shopee tapos it is discounted to 25%. So ilan yung magiging discounted amount ng shirt natin? So first we get the 25% of 640. So 640 times 25%, which is actually, what is 25%? We have 0.25 at 0.25. Or easily we can have it as 1/4 divided by 4. Okay, so 640 divided by 4, so 1/4 of 640. So what is 1/4 of 640? Now 1/4 of 640 is actually 160. Okay, so 160, 640 minus 160. So what will be the discounted price? It's 480. Okay, so 480. Medyo paligoy-ligoy itong solution dito kasi may minus pa si 60, 40. Okay, but basically kapag kinuha lang natin yung 1/4 ng ating ano, we get 480 also. So though they have the same answer. Okay, so that is the 25% of 640. So ganon, I mean the discounted price for the shirt, which is which amounts to 640, and we get the 25% discount. That is 480. So actually naka-discount tayo ng 160. That is the 25% discount price. Okay. So next we have exponent. So how do we do exponent? Kanina nakita natin yung exponent in the operation PEMDAS. So this is actually a shorthand way to show how many times a number called the base are multiplied times itself. Okay, so we commonly term it as raised to the power of, okay, for the exponent. So for example, we have the rules here for exponent. So any number which is which has an exponent of 1 is always equal to itself. So for example, 6 raised to 1 is always equal to 6. So 1000 raised to 1 is always equal to 1,000. Okay, while any number which has an exponent of 0 is always equal to 1. Okay, so sabihin natin 7 raised to 0, it is always equal to 1. 1 million raised to 0 is always equal to 1. So any number which has an exponent of 0 is always equal to 1. Okay, if the number has a negative exponent, it means that the nature of the number will be equal to 1 over the number or x. Okay, so for example, we have 4 raised to negative 1. That means it is 1 over 4 or 1/4. Okay, here we have some examples. Okay, you can take a screenshot of this one. Okay, these are some shortcuts if you want to operate laws of exponent or exponents. Okay, so have if we want to equate exponents with unlike or dissimilar exponent such like m and n, you just multiply m and n. Okay, but the same base, the same yung x nila, same yung base. For example, x squared plus x squared plus x cubed is equal to x raised to the power of 2 plus 3, which is x to the power of 5. Okay? So kapag division naman, we subtract. So for example, x raised to 6 over x raised to 2, it will become x raised to 6 minus 2, which is equal to x raised to the power of 4. Kapag meron tayong exponent, yung number may exponent raised to the power ng exponent na naman. So ang ibig sabihin lang yan, minumultiply lang natin yung exponent. So we have x raised to m raised to the power of n. So we just get x raised to m multiplied to n. Just like this one. So kapag ganito naman, yung dalawang number natin, iisa yung exponent niya na naka-parenthesis, ibig sabihin, we distribute the exponent. So we have x raised to n multiplied to 1 y raised to n. So the same for division, kapag the same yung exponent ng dalawa, so we have x raised to n over y raised to n. So ito, we already discussed this one. Okay. So yung negative nagiging over no ating 1 over yung ating exponent. So for example, we have x raised to negative 3, it will become 1 over x raised to 3. Okay, so that's the loss of exponents. So these are some examples nandun na kanina sa atin i-discuss natin. So actually, pag sinabi natin x raised to 2 times x raised to 3, we have x times x times x times x times x. So ilang x yon? Magiging x times x times x times x times x, which is equal to 5. X raised to 5. Okay, so that's the concept of the number 1 law. Yung isa, the same for division. We just for division, we just subtract, okay, the exponents. Okay, so we have x raised to 4 over x raised to 2. So actually, we are just we are just pag in-expand natin yung ating exponent, makikita natin, 'di ba, kapag division, we cross yung the same na variable natin. So for example, we have x times x times x times x over x x times x. Kasi yung dalawang x ma-erase dun sa una, dalawa na lang yung natira, so we get x times x, which is equal to x squared. Okay? Yung isang rule natin kanina, so this is the example. X raised to the power of 3 times x to the power of 4. So ang ibig sabihin niya, si x, kapag in-expand natin siya, magiging x times x times x. Tapos gusto natin expand ulit si x times x into 4th power. So ganito yung expansion niya. So we'll be getting 12 na x. So therefore, the answer is x raised to 12. So para hindi tayo patagalan sa pag-compute, we can use this law. Okay, so we just multiply 3 times 4, then we get x raised to 12, which is also the same with the first process. So distribution, gaya ng sabi ko, okay, pag iisa yung exponent ng dalawang variable natin, it means na gusto natin i-distribute. So for example, x times y times x times y times x times y. So actually, pwede nating pagsamahin yung tatlong x tapos yung tatlong y. So tatlong x, tatlong y, which means it is equal to x raised to 3 times y raised to 3. The same with the division. Okay. So how about when we have exponents of exponents? So for example, itong sign na nandito, we call it as caret. Okay, it means exponent. Okay, so what about this example? We have ang nature niyan, we have 4 raised to 3, tapos si 3 naka-raise sa 2. So how do we get the exponent of this? How do we get the answer? So how to calculate? So una, kina-calculate natin yung pinaka nasa taas na exponent. So we have 3 raised to 2. So you have 3 raised to 2 is equal to 3 times 3, which is 9. So magiging 4 raised to 9 yung ating term. Okay? So 4 raised to 9, 4 times 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 4 will be equal to 262,144. So ganun yung concept ng ating exponent of exponent. So inuuna natin yung pinakataas, the top first, okay, exponent, tapos susunod natin yung nasa bottom. Next, we have number series. Karamihan nakikita din natin to sa examination. So series, it is a sequence or a progression is the ordered list of objects which can be numbers, letters, or symbols. So sometimes, di ba sa examination, we don't just see numbers but also letters. Okay. The example of list, we have 3, 7, 11, 15, 9 is a sequence where 3 is the first term. So 3 yung first term natin doon sa ating list. Ibig sabihin ng term yun yung mga yung order ng ating number. So first term yung pinakauna, then fifth term ibig sabihin yung panglima. Okay? So karamihan hinahanap natin yung mga sumusunod na term. So we have an example here. Okay? Try to answer number 1, 2, 3. For number 1, we have 4, 7, 10, 13. What will be the next term? Ano ang guess? We have 16. How do you get 16? Joshua?
18.
18? Question mark. So actually this is, anong sagot kaya? This is 16. Sabi ni Joshua, it is 13 plus 3. So the progression of this series, nagkakaroon ng addition of 3. So 7 plus 3, 10 plus 3. So 13 plus 3 is equal to 16. How about the second? We have 17, 11, negative 1. What will be the next? Okay. It's equal to, yes, it's equal to, the next term is negative 7. So paano natin nakuha? Ano yung similar, we subtract 7. So here, minus 7, minus 7, minus 7, minus 7. Okay, how about this one? CFIL, what will be the next term? C O O question mark. So what will be the next? So actually it is so L, M, N, O. So the next term is O. Okay, so we have C, D, E. Nag-skip tayo ng dalawang letter, F, G, H, I, J, K. So we have L, M. Kanina pala we have -6 pala instead of -7. Tama, -6 pala. But the answer is -7. Okay? So O. So you have C, F, I, L, O. You skip 2 letters. Okay? How about for this sequence? Okay? So paano naman siya? Try to answer. 1, 2, 3. 1. Yung 1 natin, 3, 6, 12, 24, 48. What will be the next term? 96. 2. So the answer is 96. Tama. How do we get that? We multiply it by 2. So 6 times 2, 6. 6 times 2. So 48 times 2, we get 96. Next, we have 18, 6, 2, 0.66. How do we get this one? Eighteen, 6, 2. What will be the next? 0.22 question mark. So we divided by 3. So divided by 3. So 0.666 or 0.66 divided by 3 is 0.22222. Actually, may tuldok-tuldok dapat siya. Kasi tuloy-tuloy na siya. Okay? So that is for number 2. How about this one? 3. We have 1, 4, 3, 4, 16, 25. What will be the next term? 36. How did you get 36? How did you get 36? It's 6 times 6. So that's right. So this is actually square. So this is 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, 5 square, and then 6 square. And then for the last sequence, we have 3, 12, 27, 48, 75. What will be the next term? Any guess? 670 from France. So actually walang masyadong ano, no. You can get easily yung mga process ng ating mga series. And it's more on critical thinking. But basically, we observe that the process for this one is that we observe the first and second term, the relationship of the first and second term, so that we can come up how did they come up with the next terms. So I saw 180, 670. So this is actually ano siya? This is actually 36 times 3, which is 1, which is 33. 6 times. What is 36 times 3? It's, I think, 108. Okay, that's 108. So the next term is 108. So lahat ay multiplied by 3. Galing dito yung term natin doon. So 1 times 3 is 3, 4 times 3 is 12, 9 times 3 is 27, 16 times 3 is 48, and then 25 times 3 is 75. So 36 times 3, we have 108. Okay, so that's number series. Okay, measurement. Are you familiar pa rin sa ating mga measurement? So I think this is yung karaniwang ginagamit natin na mathematics. So the metric system, are you familiar with metric system? So ito yung karaniwang ginagamit natin na mga system of units, okay, of measurement. So just like for example, if we want to measure length, yung haba, we use meter, okay, as the SI unit of the length. Okay, for mass, we do use of kilogram. For time, the SI unit for time is seconds. For electric current, it is ampere. For temperature, it is Kelvin. So itong lahat ay yung ating mga SI unit. Okay, so these are some of the most commonly used English units of measurement and conversion. So inches, feet, yards, miles, ito yung mga tinatawag nating English unit. Cups, pins, quarts, gallons, ounces, pound, tons for weight. For time, we have seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, years. Temperature, we do use of Fahrenheit, Celsius. Speed, miles per hour. Okay? So, familiar pa rin ba tayo dun sa ating mga prefix na ginagamit in measurement? Okay. So, actually, there are some na parang ito yung basic eh. We have kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, milli. Okay, so it means, for example, we have kilogram. Okay, it actually means it is 1,000 grams. Okay, hectograms, we have 100 grams. Familiar pa rin ba tayo dito? Okay, so for those who are not familiar, I have here a audiovisual song, okay, or presentation. Subukan nating sabayan yung kanta para ma-refer tayo dun sa ating ano.
Going from biggest to smallest in the metric system with distance and weight and volume. Here's distance.
Okay, medyo may problem sa audio. So, basically what we're trying to say with that presentation is that yung mnemonics natin for the measurement so that we can easily memorize yung pagkakasunod. So we have kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, milli. So this is just an example of mnemonics, or kung paano natin may memorize ng maayos, paano ba? Sound, music na memorization. So sakaling, for example, gusto nating balikan yung measurement natin, we can sing kilo, hecto, decagram, deci, centi, milligram. So yun, if you want to watch that, nasa YouTube din. Medyo static yung audio natin. Okay, so if you want to convert it from smallest to largest, sabi doon, we just divide, and for largest to smallest, we just multiply. So yun. So this is measurement. Next, perimeter and area. Perimeter, it is the distance around, yung outside, and the area is the whole, the planar curve amount of the space inside, while the volume is the amount of the space displaced by it. Okay, so for example, we have here some of the area and perimeters of figures. Okay, so I have square, rectangle, triangle, and circle. So please take note of this one. You can take a screenshot. Okay, so for area of square, you have s times 2, which is the side or the length. Okay, s square. So length times length. Okay, for perimeter, you have 4s or the 4 side, 4 times the side. Okay, so you have the volume. Okay. So for example, may mga problems tayo involving volume. Here are the formula for the volume. Cube, sphere, rectangular, prism, pyramid. Okay. So actually, those are the sides. Yung mga A, B, C. Yeah. Algebraic expression. Okay. So these are the composition of our algebraic expression. For example, we have 3x plus 5 equals 20. So variable, what is a variable? So yung variable natin dito is the x. So a variable is an unknown changing number, which is commonly represented by x. Okay, so constant is a number that doesn't change. So for example, we have 5. 5 is a constant. Coefficient is a number that is multiplied by the variable. So yung katabi lagi ng ating variable, we call it as coefficient. So here we have what we call term, expression, and equation. Okay, so what's the difference between these three? So term, ito yung nakukuha natin ito yung tawag natin dun sa yung term natin, itong 3x, call it as term, yung 5 as term. Expression, itong buong expression na to. Okay, so you have 3x plus 5, this is an expression. While equation, yung buong equation natin, 3x plus 5 equals 20, we call it as equation. Okay, so these are some of the common phrases that we do use in the operation. So for example, for add, we commonly encounter plus, add, sum, more than, in addition to, greater than, total, and n. For subtract, we do use of difference, subtract, less than, and take away. For multiply, we do use of product, of, times, twice, factor, divide, divided by, quotient, splits, share, distribute, and equals. We commonly use equals also, is equal to. Okay, yun. Yun yung mga ginagamit natin mga phrases and words. So for example, we want to translate expression in words and expression in symbols. For example, the quotient of a number and a 4. So that is x divided by 4. So these are some of the two examples also. Ito pa yung mga example natin. Okay. A number is negative 10. That is x is equal to negative 10. A number plus 2 is 8. So that is x plus 2 is equal to 8. Okay. Half of the number is 20. That is 1/2 of x is 20. Or x divided by 2 is equal to 20. Okay. These are basic ano bang tawag ito? Square distribution of our algebraic expression. So for example, I don't know, I didn't encounter pa naman din like this one na example or na item in civil service exam, but usually sa amin sa LET may mga ganito pa ring expression na lumalabas. So for example, we have a plus b square. So basically, pag distribute natin siya, we have a square plus 2ab plus b square. Okay? So these are basics of distributing a square. Okay? You can take a screenshot of this. Okay? Bakyawan lang natin to. Ay, that's the end of my discussion na rin pala. Okay? So, yun. Doon na nag-end yung aking discussion pala. So, I am hoping that everyone grasps some basic information on numerical and logical reasoning. And I hope all of our participants here will pass the career examination